All right, so if you've ever used an app and wondered, how did they build this so fast? Or how they scale to millions of users without a giant team managing servers? Well, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into Firebase, which is Google's all-in-one platform that has totally changed the game for developers. Let's get into it. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about the big challenge that every app developer faces. Then, we'll see how Firebase swoops in as the solution, and we'll break down its two main toolkits, build and run. And finally, we'll look at why you might choose it or not, and who's actually using it. Okay, so to really get why a tool like Firebase is such a big deal, you first have to understand the headache it's trying to solve. And believe me, for developers, it is a huge headache. It's this constant battle that's happening just behind the scenes of your favorite apps. And this question, it really just nails the problem, doesn't it? I mean, developers are under so much pressure to get things done fast. They have to build the beautiful app you actually see and use, but at the same time, they also have to build and manage all the complicated stuff that makes it work.
Think of it like a car. The front end is everything you see and touch. The steering wheel, the comfy seats, the cool dashboard. But the back end? That's the engine, the servers, the databases. It's all the complex machinery under the hood that actually makes the car move. And trying to build both of those things from scratch at the same time is, well, it's a monumental task.
And that's exactly where Firebase steps onto the scene. It offers this really elegant solution by basically taking that super complex backend and making it way, way simpler. Firebase is what's known as a backend as a service, or BaaS for short. So what does that even mean? Well, think of it like this. It's like you're building a house, and you hire a world-class crew that just handles the foundation, the plumbing, the wiring, all the hard, invisible stuff. This frees you, the architect, up to focus on what matters most, designing the beautiful rooms and making it a great place to live. And you know, this wasn't some overnight success. Firebase actually started way back in 2011 as a little company called Involve, and all they offered was a chat feature for websites. But the founders noticed something really interesting. Developers were using their tool for all sorts of things besides chat. So they pivoted, relaunched as Firebase in 2012, and then in 2014, Google came along and acquired them, which just supercharged the platform into the absolute powerhouse it is today. So, how does this whole thing actually work in practice? Well, Firebase pretty much splits its services into two main categories. Let's start with the first one, the Build Toolkit. This whole section is about one thing: getting your app built and into the hands of users fast. The Build Toolkit is kind of like a box of professional-grade pre-built Legos. Instead of spending weeks coding a secure login system, you can use authentication to add it in just a few hours. Instead of figuring out how to sync data between a dozen different phones, Firestore and the real-time database just do it for you, automatically, in real time. Need a place to store photos and videos your users upload? That's cloud storage. And when you're ready to launch, hosting puts your app on a global network so it's blazing fast for everyone, no matter where they are. Each one of these tools just erases a huge development headache. But you know, building the app is really only half the story, right? Once it's out there in the wild, you have to keep it running. You have to make sure it's stable and fast. And that's where the second category comes in, the Run Toolkit. Think of this as your app's mission control center. When your app crashes on someone's phone, you don't have to wait for them to leave a 1-star review. Nope. Crashlytics tells you what went wrong right away so you can fix it. Instead of just guessing what features people like, Google Analytics shows you exactly how they're using your app. And cloud messaging gives you a rock-solid way to send push notifications to keep your users engaged. It's all about making sure your app isn't just built, but that it runs beautifully. All right, so we've seen what Firebase is and what it does, but the big question is it actually any good? Let's take a look at the proof and then weigh the good against the bad.
And look, this isn't just for some weekend project you're tinkering with. Firebase is the backbone for some of the biggest apps you probably use every day. I mean, we're talking about huge names like Duolingo, Venmo, NPR, and even Halfbrick, the studio behind the game Fruit Ninja. They all trust Firebase to power their apps for millions and millions of users. That's some serious street cred. Of course, it's not the perfect solution for everybody. On the plus side, it's incredibly fast to develop with, and the real-time data sync is just magic. But on the downside, it can get pretty expensive once you grow past the free plan. And there's this thing called vendor lock-in, which basically means once you build your app on Firebase, it is really hard to move it somewhere else. You're also giving up a bit of control over your server. So there are definitely trade-offs to consider. But if you want to talk about impact, just look at this number. As of April 2025, more than 1.5 million apps have been built using Firebase. That's just massive. The number really just speaks for itself.
So when you boil it all down, here's the key takeaway. Firebase isn't just a database or a login tool. It's a complete platform that's designed to help a developer through the entire journey, from that first little spark of an idea all the way to a massive global app with millions of users. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on for the future. As platforms like Firebase get better and better at handling all that back-end complexity for us, are we slowly watching traditional back-end engineering become a thing of the past? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining.